Hello to all astrology enthusiasts. In this video, I want to discuss with you the solar eclipse in Libra that took place on October 2nd, 2024. Although this astrological event took place 2 weeks ago, it will be active for the next 3 months and also opens up event programs and development programs for the next 2 years, 9 years, and 18.5 years. In this video, I want to examine the features of this solar eclipse in Libra, taking into account the involvement of the Black Moon and Mercury in this astrological event, as well as some aspects that were active at the time of the solar eclipse in the sky. And let's consider how the solar eclipse affects each of the 12 zodiac signs.
To begin with, let's discuss what a solar eclipse is. In astrology, the eclipse plays a very important role and always carries strong, powerful changes and renewals. It can serve as a catalyst for fateful events in the life of an individual or an entire society, and overall, it plays a very important role. It is a process when the moon is positioned between the earth and the sun, completely or partially blocking the light of the sun. And when discussing the key moments of a solar eclipse, it is important to consider that it is, first and foremost, a new moon. The usual traditional new moons that we talk about every month, but when we speak of an eclipse, the new moon here has an amplified effect. That is, a very powerful concentration of energy that provides a strong impetus for new beginnings, new projects, and new events in our lives. And it is the solar eclipse that establishes a long cycle lasting for entire months and years. It is also important to consider that the eclipses involve the lunar nodes, the North Node and the South Node, which gives the eclipse a karmic coloring. In other words, eclipses indicate the necessity of accepting and embracing changes and growth that lead us to fulfill our life purpose according to the North Node, or liberates from the old and from living in a way that is according to the South Node. An eclipse, especially a solar eclipse, always provides us with new opportunities and changes. Moreover, they can indeed be abrupt and sudden and unexpected, pushing or propelling us into something new, into a new direction in life. Here, during a solar eclipse, global events also occur, and this can affect entire communities and society as a whole. It is important to consider in which house of the horoscope the eclipse occurs, which area of life it affects, and what exactly it influences in our lives. I would also like to remind you that at the time of the new moon or solar eclipse, we experience the aspect of the alignment of the sun and moon. The moon is responsible for the subconscious, and the sun is responsible for our consciousness, leading to their unification. And at this moment, we receive a certain amount of completely new information from the subconscious, which we will work with in the next period and become aware of as we go through new experiences in our lives. And I would like to remind you that a classic new moon lasts for 5 to 6 months. It should be noted that during a solar eclipse, this is a completely new life cycle that lasts for at least 2 years or a maximum of 9 to 18.5 years. Next, we will take a detailed look at the characteristics of this solar eclipse and its impact on each zodiac sign. On October 2nd, 2024, a solar eclipse took place in the zodiac sign of Libra at the 10th degree. And here, of course, there are particularities of these energies. They are primarily related to balance, justice, partnerships, harmony, and diplomacy. It is important to note that Libra is the sign ruled by Venus, the planet Venus, and is responsible for interactions with other people, for establishing cooperation and balance, equality in these relationships. And of course, this eclipse brings to the forefront themes of balance and harmony, themes of relationships and partnership, as well as themes of beauty and aesthetics associated with Venus. And here we will be very focused on finding inner and outer balance, harmony in relationships. Moreover, the solar eclipse pushes us to seek more just ways and paths in all areas of life. This can include both business and social relationships. Also, let me remind you that Libra governs the 7th house of the horoscope. This is the house of partnerships and alliances, the house of relationships. These can include business relationships, personal ones, marital relationships, client interactions, and even relationships with your enemies, if that is relevant for someone. And here arise questions of balance between I and we, the necessity of compromises, and the search for harmony in interactions with other people. If we talk about degrees, the 10th degree of Libra, according to the Sobian symbols, is a symbol that demonstrates a teacher giving new inspiration to their students. And this symbol, of course, highlights the energy of renewal, the energy of inspiration, and the opening of completely new possibilities through knowledge and teachings. And this may also indicate a period in our lives when we and the people around us become catalysts for change for those who are very close to us, precisely through our experience or our wisdom. The influence of this eclipse is related to the need to become a unique conduit for new ideas that will help harmonize various areas of life. In addition, it is important to understand how to work with the energy of this solar eclipse. Of course, it is intuition and observation. Of course, it is the acceptance of change. And of course, it is openness to a new cycle of life. Now let's take another look at the ruler of this solar eclipse. It is the planet Venus that has a very strong, immense influence on the manifestation of this solar eclipse in our lives. Venus governs the themes of love, harmony, partnership, values, finances, and beauty. And it is her influence that sets the tone for how we will experience this solar eclipse in our lives. Naturally, Venus will focus on relationships, undoubtedly raising themes of love and beauty, addressing financial matters, and offering us the topic of value and self-esteem. The theme of harmonizing conflicts, creativity, and inspiration. Venus touches on all this. These themes will become central, especially in the next 6 months and in the upcoming 2-year cycle. And it should be taken into account that right now, during the solar eclipse, we have Venus in Scorpio with its characteristics. How does Venus in Scorpio behave? Naturally, the themes of sexuality and passion come to the forefront, along with the intensity of emotions and transformation. Venus in Scorpio can also be jealous and controlling. Naturally, this can manifest as well. And I would like to remind you that if we have a solar eclipse in Libra, the ruler being Venus, this manifests primarily in our relationships and interactions with those around us. Naturally, Venus in Scorpio brings changes in finances and resources. Naturally, it brings such emotional intensity to everything it manifests in. And indeed, in addition, there may be an exploration of certain secrets, hidden motives, and mysteries. This is all Venus in Scorpio. Now let's take a look at the aspects that were in play at the moment of the solar eclipse and what the overall picture in the sky was like. A significant role in this astrological event is, of course, played by the Black Moon or Lilith, which is in conjunction with the Sun and Moon at the moment of the solar eclipse. Lilith in conjunction with the solar eclipse in Libra enhances the mystical and shadowy side of this astrological event, adding an element of hidden desires, suppressed feelings, emotions, and a kind of internal rebellion. I would like to remind you that Lilith in astrology symbolizes the dark, shadowy aspects of our nature, certain unaccepted social norms, and the desire for freedom from limitations. Right during the period of the eclipse, all of this will manifest and continue to be quite pronounced over the next 3 months. It is important to consider that the aspect of connection always brings us events. Naturally, the Black Moon in conjunction with the luminaries involved in the solar eclipse will provide us with a release from certain suppressed aspects of our personality. And these could be some passions, desires, and certain shadow aspects of our personality will be revealed. Here, There may indeed arise a challenge to social norms, where one certainly wants to reconsider, break down, or rid themselves of certain social norms. Themes of independence and, so to speak, personal autonomy will come to the forefront. There will be very intense emotions, and extremely conflicting situations will be unfolding quite powerfully. In other words, there will be a surge of some suppressed emotions, which can include anger, envy, jealousy, and a desire for revenge. And I remind you, both the Black Moon and Venus in Scorpio will all come to the surface, rise up, and manifest. Moreover, the theme of relationships and sexuality naturally in the context of Venus will also manifest, and here, such an exploration of our shadow aspects of personality takes place, meaning that this process becomes deeper, because I remind you, the connection gives us the manifestation through certain events in our lives.
Let's also discuss the participation of Mercury in this solar eclipse. Naturally, Mercury is in Libra, and it creates a focus on communication, partnership interactions, and the search for harmony specifically through the exchange of information. Because Libra, I remind you, is the sign of balance, the sign of diplomacy, it enhances Mercury's ability to create equilibrium and equality in conversations, in discussions, and to find compromises, and carefully improve relationships precisely through a thoughtful and tactful dialogue and discussion. And naturally, Mercury will emphasize balance in communication. He will indeed emphasize the search for balance in our thoughts and in our decisions. It will demonstrate to us the importance and significance of partnership projects. He will bring to the forefront and show us the significance of social and public issues. And here, one can indeed start some intellectual, creative projects. It will also have an influence and effect on our personal relationships. Mercury in Libra specifically enhances the importance of communication in both personal and business relationships. And the solar eclipse will initiate changes in how we interact, how we express feelings, ideas, and thoughts. This can be a period of reevaluating the approach to communication and interaction with others in order to make it more harmonious and more pleasant for both parties.
Also, at the moment of the solar eclipse, we had two very important, significant, and harmonious aspects in the sky. These are B66 and the Grand Trine. Grand Trine involving Mars in the sign of Cancer, Venus in Scorpio, and retrograde Saturn in Pisces. Naturally, the Grand Trine involving these planets represents a very powerful water energy, creating a deep, emotional, intuitive, and transformative dynamic. The trine is an aspect of harmony, and although the energy of the water signs in this configuration is very gentle and fluid, such an aspect activates strong internal processes. It supports very important changes within ourselves that are related to our feelings, our personal values, and our overall life structure. This is undoubtedly about intuitive action. It is about protection. It is about emotional security and motivation. Mars is quite an aggressive planet in itself, but the actions of Venus are completely different. And here, the energy of Mars is directed specifically towards care, protection, and the creation of a safe space. Venus in Scorpio, as we mentioned, represents the transformation of feelings, passion, the depth and intensity of our emotions. And of course, retrograde Saturn in Pisces is re-evaluating our boundaries, our structures, and our spiritual lessons in life. Naturally, retrograde Saturn in Pisces operates on internal levels. It prompts us to rethink our personal spiritual boundaries. It creates situations that require a deeper understanding of our duties, our responsibilities, and a check on the strength of our life structures, which pertain to both our spiritual life and our emotional maturity. Naturally, the combination of these energies in the Grand Trine creates a synergy between action, emotions, and responsibility according to Saturn. It is precisely the energy of this trine that allows us to act consciously, based on our intuitive understanding of inner hopes, needs, and desires, and creates the opportunity to build more mature relationships and new emotional structures. Naturally, the themes of relationships, transformation, responsibility for actions, finances, and values will come to the forefront as Venus, the ruler of the solar eclipse, is involved here. And now let's discuss the bisextile involving the three higher planets that are currently in retrograde. This is retrograde Uranus in Taurus, retrograde Pluto in Capricorn, and retrograde Neptune in Pisces.
Such a bisextile is a rather rare phenomenon, and here the retro Uranus in Taurus will push us towards radical changes, even revolutions in our lives, breakthroughs, and the necessity to rethink and transform our views on property, values, and finances. Because the sign of Taurus with Pluto in Capricorn, by the way, this is his last passage through Capricorn, will certainly bring very powerful transformations. It will completely dismantle our old structures and provide a moment of rebirth, a moment of building something new in our lives, destroying outdated systems that are no longer effective in our lives, and creating opportunities for revival, renewal, and something entirely new, innovative, and very unusual that we have not experienced before.
And retrograde Neptune in Pisces. Naturally, this is about our dreams, it is about our spiritual ideals, it is about our illusions and spiritual truths. Here, of course, retrograde Neptune will certainly also contribute to this important aspect in the sky. Speaking about the energies of the bisextile in general, there will be, in essence, a destruction of entirely and completely old, outdated material and social structures. This can indeed manifest both at the societal level and in the life of each of us on this earth. Moreover, the energies of Uranus will not push us towards unconventional solutions, and the interaction with Pluto will give very deep and significant transformations, and very radical and profound transformations. When it comes to the influence of Uranus-Neptune, this combination will inspire us towards radical changes in our lives, especially in our spiritual life. It will help us find entirely new ways to empower our spirituality. And speaking of Pluto and Neptune, this aspect will bring transformations on a deep spiritual level, shattering our illusions, clearing our space for completely new spiritual insights and revelations, a very positive aspect. Keep in mind that these are the outer planets, which move very slowly, so these changes are long-term. These are not changes that happen in a day. However, the aspect is harmonious, which means that the changes in our lives will also be harmonious and positive. And now let's consider the effects of the solar eclipse in Libra for each of the 13 zodiac signs.
Dear Scorpios, the solar eclipse in Libra in your 12th house activates hidden subconscious processes. The 12th house is associated with spirituality, our inner transformations, our psychology, the completion of significant life cycles, and the mysteries of life. And this eclipse brings energies that are specifically aimed at profound changes for you, focusing on liberation from old patterns, internal blocks, and the opening of entirely new paths, spiritual paths. The energies that will be at work during this time for you are primarily related to releasing the past. These are deep inner transformations, an enhancement of your intuition, the application of certain spiritual practices, and the completion of some karmic lessons that you have been going through. Of course, the solar eclipse always opens up development programs for us for at least 2 years. And here for you, there will be programs related to spiritual awakening, connected to psychological healing, and associated with the development of some hidden talents, the completion of certain old life cycles. In order to work through the energies of this solar eclipse, it is advisable to engage with the subconscious, possibly even involving a specialist, to undergo psychotherapy, meditation, and work with dreams. Here, it is important to focus on cleansing and letting go of everything old, emotionally outdated, that hinders you and drains your life energy. This is a good place to practice spiritual development through any means, methods, or forms. It is very good to complete any unresolved matters, close cycles, and free yourself from situations and relationships. At least in the next 2 years, you will have this opportunity. I wish you success. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. See you. Goodbye.